Well, hello and welcome. We are here for week 6 now, race 6 of this season 3 21-22. I am Kate Bates, joined by the wonderful Dave Towle for America West. We are the second bookend to this week's racing. We started in APAC last night and now we round off this series of normal racing. Dave, you've seen a lot today. It's quite a cracking course, only 24 kilometres, but a little bit of a spanner in the works with a big old climb in the middle.
500 meters of climbing. And what's really crazy is a lot of this course is flat, actually. All of that climbing happens in about 6K. So it goes bananas, Kate. It's been fantastic. We've seen individual performances. Again, as we're into week 6, and we'll have Cy to break down the specifics of the course, so I don't want to spill all the beans. What I've been doing, I realize, all season long is kind of like cherry picking the highlights of what Cy is going to say out of his broadcast element. So that being said, Cy, you've done a great job and thanks a lot. Certainly you've been an asset to a lot of our racers to learn the courses, but it's the sprint at the end right before the finish that makes this one really interesting. And Kate, we'll have a chance to look at how close the battles are. But in honest, when you look at the racing here, it turns into a strong woman competition. Only the strong survive this climb.
Yeah, that is right. And it's certainly not a course that I would be loving. Let's go and take a look at Cy, and then we'll jump straight down to the women because they are already out on course.
Hey Zwifters, welcome to Innsbruck for stage 6, the final stage before we move on to the semi-finals and the finals of the Continental Trophies. 24 kilometres in total, just shy of 500 metres of elevation. So as we roll through this start-finish banner, sadly, you're going to be picking up no power-ups today, but we do have 2 time segments. One 15 to 30 minute climb, dependent on your category, and then one sprint segment right at the end of the course. But first, we're going to take on this, the Innsbruck KQOM. 7.5 kilometre climb. There are places to attack and there are places to sit in the wheels on this climb. But the final 500 metres are fairly flat, so if you've still got some people around you with sprinters' legs, you want to make sure you drop them before this point. First across the line, and the fastest through segment on this climb. We're then going to descend back towards Innsbruck before we hit the leg snap in this 500 metre power climb before we take the right hand turn at the top and head towards that sprint segment. We've then got a short undulating descent towards this sprint segment. First across the line and the fastest through available here. But what I love about this sprint, it's so close to the finish line. So what are these riders going to do? Roll straight over the top and go for those finish line points? Or do you have the strength to pick up the segment and the finish line points? Good luck and ride on.
All right, we're going to jump straight down into the replay now because the women are already on the course. So this is the bottom of the climb. So we can, in a lot of the instances that they've actually raced over this course, Dave, it's often at the end, the climb kind of marks the finish of the race, not so here, a couple of kilometres in and they are already on the slopes. Now the climb goes for 7.5 kilometres. There are some very, very snappy segments. Cy puts it a little bit more poetically than either of us will, I think, because it's pretty hellish is how I would describe it.
No.
But interesting to see that ATP are really getting stuck into this. So again, Dave, we're looking at a replay. We're not yet into the live pictures, but we just want to see how it is being set up. So ATP, well, they've kind of come here with nothing to lose. It is the last week of the ordinary season, and I think not only just the bragging rights of going over the line today, but I think getting over this epic climb at the top. There's a lot on the line today, just from a pride perspective. So, Dave, Stallkamp, she has been fantastic this season. Hannah Stallkamp, I know you're a big fan of hers. And she's still really pushing the pace. A couple of seconds opening up, but certainly keeping the field honest.
Yeah, I am a big fan. She's one of the, if you look on paper, one of the few riders that makes over 3.7 watts per kilo for her 20-minute power, Kate. There's a rider I'm looking at, Margot Southgate, on the NZ Bro team. And oh, by the way, alert, we finally caught Anna out on something that she didn't know. It was the first time ever. It was stunning for everybody involved. Yes, it was a complete shocker. And it involved New Zealand to even be more just mind-blowing. NZ Bro, and that's the team for Margot Southgate that I'm talking about. She is going to be interesting. Now, I don't see her name yet, but I'm wondering if we do see her start to come up to the front in this climate. But again, hot in a stall camp there. But NZ Bro, I asked Anna what it stood for, and she said, "Oh, like bro, like yeah, bro, keep it going." Well, then we learned, no, that's not correct. It stands for New Zealand Bicycle Racing Organization. But then we even learned that wasn't correct. It stands for Bicycle Racing Online. So it was mind-blowing, right? I mean, for someone that had a perfect record up till then. Speaking of mind-blowing, tied at 94. This is going to be an epic battle. I should probably stop joking around about our colleague Anna and focus on the racing here, because look at this. Cadence and ATP, Kate, tied at 94. And then the battle for second what most likely almost has to be the battle for third is going to be equally interesting between DDC Xena, Dutch Diesel Cycling, and West Coast Coalition. So we've got two Donnybrooks happening inside. So welcome to the Thunderdome on wheels, folks.
Well, the last season it was kind of DDC who really dominated it. And so it's been a bit of a turn up this season. I love the NZ Bro thing. Wahine Towle, remember that is Māori for warrior women is our understanding of that. So beautiful name there. And I don't know if you know, Dave, but in Australia we call New Zealanders like cuzzy bros. I know that sounds funny, but we do. They're like our cuzzy bros, or they kind of call people that too, the other way around. So I would have assumed, yes, that bro is just because that's what they call everyone. We call everyone mate. They call everyone bro. But there you go. We've learned something today, and if we can ever educate the whiteboard queen herself, Anna Russell, I think we're doing a very good job. There are a lot of dynamics, as you call it, a Donnybrook. Now, that's something I think I'm going to have to Google, because I have zero reference to what that could possibly mean, except that I know how you use it in the context. So I might have to look that up.
It'll make sense.
It explains. Yeah, when I Google it, it will. It does explain why ATB are being so proactive. The really important thing to remember that Anna and I kind of kept overlooking last night, if you will, is that this is a points race. It is not about going over the top of the climb. It is not about even necessarily winning, because there are a huge amount of fastest through segment points to be earned along the way as well. There are no power-ups today. And we did find yesterday a bit of a surprise overall winner who didn't cross the line first, but did a very good job. Now, saying that, I will also say that as the final race of the season and on this kind of very difficult course, there will be some bragging rights for just crossing the line first. So there will be some teams looking to do that as well. But they have to be quite strategic, because at 94 apiece, Cadence and ATP have a very big battle on their hands. The men have just headed out on course, Dave, and as we saw from the women, it is not too long before they do hit that climb. And we've got some ding-dong battles going on over there as well.
Yeah, there really is a race to the bottom of the climb, and you can see that that's where the selection starts, is right out of the spawning pen, as they'll get after it. So the men, same deal here, 24K of racing. The KOM points for the guys up on top of the climb here. I guess really quickly, while Kate is looking up Donnybrook right now, America's West Division 1, as far as the men and women go, these riders have gotten to know themselves very well. This is one of, even though you can see On the Rivet Hayes is now sitting a few points behind, oh my God, they killed Kenny. OMG, they killed Kenny has turned this season into a super team. They've been working with some new coaches and advisors. I'm looking at you, Nathan Guerra, and have really upped their game. They're doing a lot of the recon races. They did a blistering team time trial the other week. So they're on fire right now. On Rivet Hayes has been a benefit for them, a real adversary. Just like the Batman needs the Penguin or the Joker. Oh my God, they killed Kenny needs On the Rivet Hayes. And it'll be interesting to see On the Rivet Hayes when they strike back. TFC, the Friday Criterium Scorpion team, is also in a battle here with On the Rivet rule number 5. So third place is going to be interesting here. A lot could happen out here. The climb is brutal. As Kate said, this is the 6th race of a 6-race season. It's actually the 6th race of the 6th season. If you look at it in the big picture, but we're calling it season 3 of 21-22. So this wraps things up. Looking over at the women's side, we've seen some phenomenal efforts. Really, rather than watching the distance, right now, watch the meters of climbing that have been gained here. The VAM was insane. The vertical altitude in meters, how quickly you're going uphill, Kate, not relying upon how far you're going forward, just how fast you're climbing. It's been bananas on one of the toughest climbs to race on in esports on Zwift. So we've got
we saw. Yeah. We saw some massive numbers, power averages coming out of APAC with the men. A lot of those riders are actually stepping out of, they were previously in Premier League, so the level is very high, but it did showcase the course. Now, this is interesting what's going on in the women. As you rightly say, this is a quick race. Like, we're looking at the 4 kilometres that it is, goes fairly quickly, because once they get over that about 11K mark, it's all downhill. Essentially downhill. They do have the leg snapper at the end, but that is only about a 500-metre climb. So if they can really survive for the next 4.5 kilometres, then they will have the opportunity to come back together. Now, Nats McLean has made a bit of an impact out there. So she's the ATP rider that we are looking at the moment. She has pushed ahead of Thompson and Hannah Stallkamp. Laura Thompson is Cadence, of course. So she's their only rider up there, because Tracy Moore is back a little bit, also kind of pushing to chase a little bit. So it is between Cadence and ATP for the overall. But so far, I have to say that ATP are probably in a slightly stronger position, but it's actually looking like they may come together here with 2 and 2, right? Because we've got McLean, Stallkamp, Thompson, and then Tracy Moore. Now, Tracy Moore's done a really great job, actually, because she had dropped a little bit further back, but she's done a reasonably good job of just chipping away at it and getting back. And I want to ask you, Dave, what we saw in APAC was a very big distinction between what I like to call the more dynamic climbers, who were accelerating, backing off, versus the more diesel type of climbers who were just able to hold a really consistent pace and ended up not losing too much time, even though at times they'd get distance, they'd kind of peg their way back each time. So it is that kind of climb. And the men, Dave, they're now hitting the lowest slopes. They haven't even quite hit the bottom of the climb. They're not too far off that now. It's a slight dip before they edge up there, but already beats on the attack. So TFC is certainly kind of throwing the hat in the ring and saying, you know, we're here, we're not going to take it too easy. So Moto Beats is what his name is. Who knows what his actual name is, but I like that. That's a bit fun.
I would not rule out parents naming their child Moto anymore in this world. To tell you
this is true. This is true.
Yeah,
that may be his actual name. So apologies, Moto, if I
especially if his dad was a motocross racer. You know, a moto is the term they have. You advance out of motos, you know, going from group to group as you move through the day. So this is TFC's been a team. That's the team of Brian Diddy, who's been a big star sprinter. Trev Daddy has also come out of this team. TFC's waiting in the wings to become a super team as well. This is interesting, though, getting out in front of it. It's such a tough climb, Kate. We're seeing a lot of riders today setting personal best for their 20-minute power. there, without
Mm.
any doubt, digging extremely deep. It's just hard enough that it forces you to go all in. You just can't, at no point can you fake it on that climb and take it easy. It's relentless, is a good word. So, Moto Beats off the front right now, getting a bit of a reaction as the guys are just hitting the steep part. The climb, the climb proper starts on paper at about 4K in, but really you start climbing about 2K in. It just doesn't start getting steeper than 5% until right here, right now, as they turn a switch. So that's going to be Gregory, Brett Boniface coming up for OMG. So you start to see that orange and white jersey that they have shown all over the front of bike races. And Kate, this looks brutal. This might even go beyond what a Donnybrook is. So it sounds like Hannah Stallkamp's making quite an impression over on the women's side of things here, as they have got about a K and a half of climbing left, Kate. So that's the scene with the women. The guys just getting stuck in. The women looking to come up over the top and go through that fastest through segment. And there's a lot of points up there, but it looks like Boniface is gone. Wow, lot to take in right now.
I love that, by the way, you used my delightful pronunciation of Boniface for a moment there. You've fallen into finally 6 weeks into season 6.
You finally got me.
Finally, I've got you into my terrible pronunciations. I love it. Go, Boniface, go, is what I would say. Over on the women, we've already highlighted that the race is kind of on. We've got a real Donnybrook, as you put it, and I have now Googled that, so I now do understand the reference between Cadence and ATP, and they are on 94 points each. So that will be playing out over the top. But over in the men's, I'll get Nathan to bring up our overall standings again here, so we can just take a look at what the teams may be thinking about. So OMG, that's a pretty lovely round number of 100 there for them. And with riders like Boniface and, of course, Dan Pedrosa, they have had a great season. But a lot of the courses that have really suited them to date have been those more kind of sprint-suited events. So it will be interesting to see how they tackle this, whether they really get on the front foot. It does look like they're doing that. Peter Mogg, I reckon. Oh, and now this is something, gosh, Dave, oversight on my part. We haven't even talked about the fact that we'll be choosing our 5K to go hero again this week, our 5K hero. And I may say that if we had an overall winner for the series, I reckon Pete Mogg might be up there, because he has been
Good call.
Showing his head out in the wind very consistently. We've mentioned his name a terribly lot this season, so not surprising to see him on the march, but it is early on this climb, and there are some really brutal sections. I mean, look at this, 10%, 11%. Even when it peters off, it doesn't mean your legs can recover from the effort, but they are really stringing it out here. A very concerted effort from OMG, because, Dave, there wasn't just an attack to try and sear off the front, but it is more just lifting that pace and gently kind of torturing everybody.
Wow. To be honest, the men's race right now looks like a charity ride, no drop event. If you didn't know that they were going as fast as they are, because I mean, from tip to tail, I mean, it's basically, Kate, all connected. That's Brett Boniface on the front. And I'm with you on Peter Mogg, by the way. I give him the Teammate of the Year award. He's just an incredible guy. But from tip to tail, this could be 40 seconds, basically with no gap larger than 2 seconds. They have strung that group out at epic proportions, and they're only a couple of K into the tough part of the climbing. So the men's race has gone absolutely ballistic. On the women's side of things, it's every woman for herself at this point. There's very few riders who even have the comfort or shelter from the storm out here of being in a draft. You can see there's a small group here, as that's going to be Sierra Sparkle that we're looking at. These three are actually coming across to weld this back together, making a group of 6. So very impressive ride by these 3 riders here. And as soon as they get there, there goes an attack. So it's going to be Laura Thompson hitting out, as she's treating herself like a rented mule right now on this 10% grade. no regard for her well-being, digging even deeper as Laura Thompson is going to turn this into a brutal affair on the women's side. There's not that much steep climbing left, and Laura Thompson is looking to make hay while the sun is shining. So this is going to be the Canadian Thompson having one of her best moments of the season. So Kate Bates, how about this? Thompson has hit out with authority at the top of the climb here in Innsbruck. Will she take fastest through segment points as well? Well, ATP says no one puts baby in a corner because they're now going to try to fight back. And actually, second and third is better than just first if you look at the points. And that's how we score things here in the ZRL. So back to you, Kate Bates, as they're about to hit the top part of this brutal climb.
You are absolutely on fire today. I just wrote that down, treated herself like a rented mule. I'm hoping that Nathan is grabbing these clips as we go. Laura Thompson has said all or bust. And I love that kind of racing. I love that tenacity. And I think the deeper you get into the season, the more you see what I'll call these like hero moves, because they think we're tied overall. If we just sit here, if Cadence just sits back and lets ATP dictate what's going to happen in the race, they'll lose overall. Like it would,
exactly.
It's kind of better to go down swinging, right? Is the way I'm seeing it. And I think Laura Thompson has got that attitude as well. ATP have slightly dropped the ball here insofar as I think Laura Thompson is doing a very good job of going for that fastest through segment. That is very heavily weighted from a points perspective. But we do have a numbers at this point, both Stallcamp and McLean together, if they can get second and third, that does even out the weighting of first. And Moore really has to play this smart in order to make sure she does get, at minimum, those fourth place points across the top here, and make sure it does look like they will all come back together down the other side. The gaps are small in that regard for a long range break. They will likely come back together as six, but Laura Thompson, she will take this KOM, but I'm not sure if she will. I think she'll also probably take the fastest through segment, Dave, and that will give her a lot of points. But if Tracy Moore could bridge across, that would make a very big difference in ensuring that the gap between ATP and Cadence isn't too big through here. And it looks like Nats McLean is putting her stake on this and trying to bridge across. I don't think she made that in time, but geez, they're getting closer and closer. I expect they'll come together over the top here, Dave. And we'll take a look at those segments when we can and the timing to get an idea. We know who went first across the line. But let's see if she also snafu'd those points for fastest.
Well, as we take a look at the separation that Laura Thompson has created now, she's starting to look like a 5K hero herself, to be honest, Kate, as Thompson having a fantastic ride, doing extensive damage right now as we're going to send riders up and over the top. So before we close the books on this season, we've still got some points to distribute here. So they've got the checkbook out. They're writing checks right now. So you might want to scoot over there. The final QOM checks have been written now, but we do have that sprint to look forward to. How much regrouping do we see, Kate, now over the top of this climb? Because we've seen solo wins today, but those riders have had in the neighborhood of 2 minutes, 1 minute 30. I guess it's varied, but there have been huge time gaps coming over the top of that climb that have given them quite a buffer. Not the case for Laura Thompson. As you can see now, we'll start watching what happens on this wickedly fast descent. Nathan was talking about riders hitting 100 kilometers per hour on this descent. So let's see, you got to catch that train as it leaves the station, or else you're definitely going to be moving to the next route back.
Yeah, it can get away from you quickly, can't it? On one hand, you do know that if there's a wheel just in front of you, that you can certainly take a big breath and get back on down. But if that breath that you take coincides with a little bit of recovery from the other rider and they put the hammer down, and what we're finding is that these groups just zoom away, especially in the Aerotuck. I mean, they're going very, very fast. They're going up to, I think this is the climb that I've gotten over 100k an hour descending on. So you can do it on here, and we can already see they're going to 92, 93k an hour, and if somebody is just a little bit behind and sitting even at 85k an hour, the difference will be quite substantial. As the women zoom down, what's going on over here in the men, Dave? They're coming really close to the top of the climb here now. They get over the top here into the forest, and that's where it flattens out and goes to the KOM. And a lot of people find kind of another pair of legs to get through that. It is a surprisingly big group. I thought we would definitely have one or two really off the front. I'm kind of considering why that's happening and why there haven't been such blistering attacks that it has been whittled down.
Well, you really wonder, Kate, what perspective we should look at this from, right? So will it be the OMG standard of having a perfect season? They must be starting this race with that as a clear and a bright and shining objective, right? Having a perfect run, that's a great goal. It's obtainable, and that's obviously what they're doing. So with still 2K of climbing until they get to that arch where we do distribute those KOM points, I have a feeling that OMG is going to throw some more coal on the fire here. But what's going on? Peter Mogg is still there for OMG. Flanders is still there. So they've got the entire squad. Is Wofford here? I think he may be, which means the entire team, for all intents and purposes, is sitting up in this front group. So now I have a feeling we're going to flip into a new phase, Kate, and expect another surge coming in the last K on this climb from OMG. It's amazing to see a group of 20 together here. Is that at 20? Maybe a little shy of that? Yeah, a little shy of 20, but it's a big, big group here with only 1.5K of climbing left here today, albeit leaving out the leg snapper, but that doesn't even count for athletes of this ability as a climb. That's more of just a launch pad into the final 4K of racing there once we get back into Innsbruck proper. But here on the climb, I mean, Brian Diddy, one of the best sprinters in esports right now, Kate, he's still in this group. That's pretty strong for him. He's got to be feeling good about his climbing skills to be here with these guys.
Yeah, I think definitely OMG, they may attack over the top here to get it to the end to get those
Don't
points.
give away their game
I
plan,
was
Kate.
just thinking, yeah, but I was just thinking as you were talking about like the perfect race and the perfect season and what their outcomes may be. And when you are in that privileged a position as they have been, you do have a little bit more leeway to do things a little bit more in your control. But they're lining up here. They're like, it's very clear that they are absolutely en masse motivated today to get a very good result. And they've got a really great team. Greiner is the other one we haven't really mentioned, but I've loved seeing him pop his head out.
Red alert,
they are all there.
Yeah.
I know, and
boy.
they're not far now from this sprinty, flatty section. This is like, it really looks like calm before the storm. But when you say that, you realise they're at 450 watts. So they're not.
That's Pedrosa attacking, Kate. So this is a worst case scenario.
Pedrosa is such a good power athlete, isn't he? Normally not a climber, but a power athlete. He's got the disc wheel on. He's come here on a mission.
Schaefer's responding, which is brilliant. That's the best thing you can do. There's no doubt that Pedrosa has leveled up. His focus on racing, his commitment, it's been really fun to watch. He's gone to another level. These guys have become one of the best team time trialing squads, talking about, oh my God, they killed Kenny. And this is going to be interesting because OTR is going to need to integrate this. It's got to be cover and kill right now. So this is going to be fastest through segment, first across the line points as well. Pedrosa lights the fuse. We're going to have a bomb go off behind him now. Will it be a select group, OMG, and I don't know, a couple other racers who can maybe tag on? Because I have a feeling they want to make a statement. In bowling here in the States, at least, Kate, a 300 is that perfect game, just nothing but strike after strike. But always, in my mind, the last strike is the hardest, right? It's not the first one or the third one. The pressure is on at the end, and the pressure is on, oh my God, they killed Kenny, against some really tough teams who are all back in this group. This right here, this move from Pedrosa, this is not sending a message that tells these other teams that they still can't beat them today. This is just a bit of a statement, and I'll throw it back to you, Kate, because, oh my God, they killed Kenny is rolling it here with Dan Pedrosa out of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, sensational ride from Dan. And I do love it when the power athletes just smash it up the climbs, because when you think of sprinters and power athletes, you often think that on the climbs they'll just have nowhere to go. But if it's ridden properly, he's remembering he's got so much power for 15 seconds, is that he can open a gap significantly. He has gone over to take those points. I think he will very likely get fastest through segment as well. We'll take a look at that when we can, but really good strategy. And B. Diddy, he's up there
How
for
about that?
TFC. That's a great ride from him. Patrick Schaefer. Again, we're always assuming that Schaefer is a Patrick, but given the surname, I'm just thinking that it could
That's
be.
funny. I
I'll
think
try and
Paul.
find
I
out.
always think Paul Schaefer, but it is Patrick. You're right.
Oh,
Um,
excellent. Okay, fantastic. Otherwise, he's Patrick to me. Let's take a look at the replay
he's
of the
Patrick
women
the
here,
Mom.
Dave.
So, yeah. All right. Replay right now. Little attack coming here. That we look at this, how they've squared this off, Kate. 2-on-2 right now. ATP in the pink and gray and Cadence in the green. So we're looking at what was going on. A cut. They're just about to the leg snapper right now. And Tracy Moore's had a great day. Remember on the climb how she was really fighting, Kate? Well, there she is on the front of the race right now, getting a nice
Mm,
ride on.
yeah, they've dropped Sparkle, which I think she has one of the best names. Whether it's her name or not, I'm going to take her
Guess who's
for that
back?
one. But
Not
it
Slim
does look like
Shady.
Sparkle. Yes, not Slim Spady. Blah, blah, blah.
It's Sparkle.
I'm not even going
Yeah.
to try and say that again. Sierra Sparkle is the one that has come back, and not only has she come back, but she has kept going. She's just gone whack over the top. So
Wow.
good on her. That often suggests to me that the reason they may have gotten dropped may be, a slight tactical foo-foo rather than having bad legs. So let's see where she goes with this. But this could mess the dynamic between those two ATP riders and the two Cadence. They're heading on to the leg snapper. Now, Dave, I could come up with a more colourful description of this climb. It is not nice. It is not friendly. And at this point of the race, there might be more than heavy breathing going on, a little bit of cursing perhaps in their Discord chats. But what can ATP do? Can they distance Cadence and potentially put that extra pressure on Tracy Moore to
Oh
weight the
boy.
finish point toward them? It looks to me like that's what's happening. And Tracy has fought all day, but her legs look to be snapped.
Well, ATP putting the pressure on right now, Kate Bates. I love this. They say fortune favors the brave. Well, you got to be brave to do what these women are doing right now on the leg snapper. This one is nasty. It has no regard for your well-being, and ATP is going to try to take it. They get up and over this very quickly. They make the hard turn and just slam it now into a bigger gear and just hightail your way through the last 3.5K of racing. Now, there's two critical points here to remember. This has really turned into a two-team showdown. It's going to be ATP that we're looking at here in the pink and gray. And I would say that they've got to like their chances now, Kate, as they've got Cadence on the back foot. This is Tracy Moore who's fighting here to try to get back on terms. But ATP starting to shine here late in race 6. These teams are tied,
Ooh, now
remember,
what
coming into this.
Yeah. Well, and what ATP need to remember here is it's not just if they can also get the fastest through segment for this finish, for the sprint and for the finish, it is absolutely crucial. So they need to go over the top here, and this is where it marks now the descent. But I can tell you that if you don't keep pedaling down here, your legs do not recover for the sprint segment. because it is a whole lot of lactic acid that is built up. Such a heavy anaerobic effort. Oh, power tuck from Hannah Stallkamp. That makes me cringe. I know that we've talked about this. I know some riders
I'm on
love
your
the power
side.
tuck.
Kate,
And
I
I've
learned
heard
I'm
actually that
always on
some of
your
them
side.
pedal backwards. I'll take that. I'll take that, Dave. I
Yeah.
mean, it makes it
No, but
quite
I
a nice
am on
friendly work environment, doesn't
yeah,
it?
it does. It does.
But
It
if we
creates a much easier going work environment when I just say you're always right. But in this case, you are, and you have the experience, and I do agree. That being said, you have to acknowledge that different riders do have a different mindset there. So this is going to be interesting. Let's turn our attention back to the final sprint here. Who's going to get these points, Kate? A surge coming. Thompson. Oh, ooh la
ooh,
la. Is she going to do it? Kate, I think she does. She's got to hold on. This is like that Cavendish sprint, just goes on forever, but she is going to hold on and pick up maximum bonification. So nice way to fight back from
ooh.
Cadence here. I thought they might have been in a little bit of trouble, but they're keeping their head above water. This is just going to be nuts.
Hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm doing a little bit of sly maths here based on that segment points. And it is right down to the wire because Tracy Moore, like the top
Yeah,
four, two each, that's equal points. And then if we go down a bit, I'm thinking that at the moment ATP might have a 4-point advantage in that top 10, although with Thompson just winning that and getting that fastest through segment, that's going to re-weight back to her again. This will literally be down to the finish line and seeing what happens here. This is a little bit crazy. We haven't seen quite as tight a race happen uh, in this as we. So, all right, let's take a look at. We haven't had an update yet since that sprint. We will show that when we can, but we can see that they are both on 94. A little bit of maths on the segment points shows
the
that that's all very tight. 2K to go. We've got an ATP. We've got a cadence. Dave, this is like popcorn territory. Nats McLean and Laura Thompson. Nats McLean was the first to attack for the day that we saw on that replay at the bottom of the climb. They came in on a real mission, and that is her in the Laura Thompson from Cadence, and she has shown us that she's a very good sprinter. But if you dive into Zwift Power, Dave, and I dare you to, and anybody watching from home, they are nearly identical in all of their numbers, in their power PBs, in their 15
yeah.
seconds watts per
So
kg. It is nearly identical. This will be about how they tactically play the sprint, their timing. It will not be down to just pure capability because they are very, very closely matched, as twinning as you could possibly get on Zwift across different teams.
if you were to ask for a dream finale for this scenario where every rider matters, Kate, it couldn't be more true than right now. The rider who decides this season win is probably not on your screen right now. It might be the third or fourth finisher for these teams. We're down to 600 meters to go. Now, these are where the massive points are weighted towards the top here. So getting this win is a significant step in your bid. You can see the finish gantry. There it is. We're going to have the riders galloping here in just a moment. So, Kate, I'm going to throw it to you. We got a 2-up sprint for the outright win, and we'll get our pencils out, sharpen the lead. We'll start tabulating because here we go. Thompson hits out.
Thompson has hit out early and she has opened up a fairly significant gap back to McLean. That was all about timing. She got the jump on her. She will go across the line and get those points. And
Oh,
Tracy
Tracy.
Moore, she has clawed her way back. Cadence,
They win
first and
both of their
third
mini races.
ATP. Oh,
So,
with
Kate, if you kind
second
of
and
break that down
fourth
into
for
mini
McLean and
races, the
Stallkamp.
bat
Oh.
Yeah, the little battles within the war there both went to Cadence. Actually, they take first and third out of that little boy. It's still that skirmish at the front. So this is the points from before the finish was factored in. So this
Mm.
does include that second fastest through segment that Laura Thompson picked up there to give her 40 fastest through segment points. And so she was
Got to be
dominant.
cadence.
She won everything, actually, Kate. She gets both first across the line, she gets both fastest throughs, and she wins the race. So Laura Thompson, here comes
This is
Ossenbrook, a cadence
awesome.
rider.
She's only coming in now, but if we look at those segment points, she's clearly had a very solid crack at the fastest through segment in that sprint. Picked up a lot of points, jettisoned herself up that chart because she wasn't in the top 10 before that sprint. I cannot, and Heinz ATP, Joy Connolly coming in for ATP, but I actually can't see from that
It
top
looks
10, I
good for
cannot see
cadence.
how ATP are going to get that balance back from cadence,
No, they
honestly.
can't. No, because
Wow.
Thompson is
That,
so good here, Kate, that because if you look at it now, yeah, if we left that up, you can see that they really do neutralize the points, but with Laura Thompson really standing out. The guys are going over the leg. We're going to jump in with the finale for the guys here. So, wow, great job by the women. Now we turn our attention back on the front is going to be, oh my God, they killed Kenny with Brett Boniface here. Let's see. This is the points total for the guys and how they've been distributed. This does not include, obviously, the upcoming sprint that they've got and the finale. They've got 3.4K of racing remaining now. Select group, Kate. So we're already setting up for that sprint now. OMG moving to the front here.
well, this is where it really played out in the women. It really made a bit of a difference over that leg snapper, although Tracy Moore got pushed off the back and she absolutely clawed her way back. Now, this is, again, a much bigger group than I anticipated at this point, which really brings this sprint into play. It is, and Cy asked the question, Cy Bradley in his opening video, Dave, do they go over the top of the leg snapper and just keep going? I think the answer is yes. It is such a short run in to this sprint and such an important one, not just because of FAL, but because of FTS as well. We're now deep trenched into acronym territory. Dave, I'm going to hand this over to you. What are OMG going to do?
Well, I think they're just going to rush the finale here and throw everything at it. It makes sense, to tell you the truth. They're in command position here now, so I think it's going to be a show of authority. Here we go. They're already going to start now. The mix of riders that they have to worry about. B. Diddy is clearly one of the best sprinters, but they're still going to sweep 2 of the top 3 spots, even if Diddy goes on, and he just might not. As Dan Pedrosa, like a rocket ship coming through. They've been battling all season long, and Pedrosa's going to get the better, but that's a statement from OMG. They killed Kenny. They take 3 of the top 4 spots, and TFC, Kate, is not their danger team. These are not the droids that they're worried about. That is OTR, the team in red and black, who look like they might have scooped up some points in the top 6, but that might be too little too late right now. They're just charging, throttle all the way open. OMG, they killed Kenny, doing what they've done all season long, which is just straight up smash mouth bike racing. It's not all that subtle, Kate. It's just dominant.
Well, you don't need to be subtle. You just need to get the points and dominate. And if we do look down
And
through
we don't
that
give
board
points for
as well,
subtle. No,
no,
subtle
we
points
don't. No, we
given.
don't. Yes.
That's
I
not the name
like
of the game.
anybody that's a little bit extra. And I do like that OMG have been very extra this season. It's hard to look when you even look at the
Totally.
segment points to this moment. It's hard to see that they won't take another one out today. And I think you were spot on when you said that they've come out on the mission to do that. I think they'll also be very happy if they can actually physically have a rider first across the line because – you know, Anna and I talked about it yesterday. When we break down the results and we look at the results overall, we actually don't even look at who has the most points. We look at the top 10 as who crossed the line. And so there is a lot of bragging rights in doing that. They've got 1.5K to go. Look at this sea, this armada of orange here, orange, blue, and white, that very distinctive jersey. It's very clear, Dave, that they want to leave this season with just nothing left in the tank, and they're doing a great job.
the swan song for a beautiful season right now. They want to go out with a crescendo, and they are going to absolutely the French horn, the trumpet section. So this is going to be huge. That's Pedroza here with the insane hair thing that he's got going now on the front as Bishop is the rider trying to respond, but this is it right here, right now. What a way. Dan Pedroza has worked so hard. He has been, in my mind, in our community, he's legend status. What a way to go out. Pete Mogg, you too. Oh my God, they killed Kenny with a perfect season. Kate, you've been on their side, a fan. We've both enjoyed their personalities, the class acts that they've shown. What a way to say goodbye to the sixth and final race of the regular season here. A perfect run.
That was beautifully executed. Do you think that maybe they borrowed one of Anna's whiteboards? I don't know, Dave. I have a feeling like they've got like a playbook or something. That's a really like American football thing to do, isn't it? Or NFL? Is that what we call it? NFL? I don't know.
100,
American football.
100%. That was drawn up on a whiteboard somewhere. I'm going to guess in Austin, Texas, but who knows? You're absolutely right, though. They're scripting this, and it's one thing to make a plan, and it's another thing to deliver it, Kate. That is for sure. But I'm with you on that. Well, it's a little sad to get to this point in the season. I know we've got a couple races to look forward to, but this is, for all intents and purposes, the end of the regular season for ZRL Season 3 here. And like Dorothy said to the Scarecrow, I think I'm going to miss you most of all, Kate. Well, I'll miss Tuesday
Well,
nights with
likewise,
you.
Dave. We do have, of course, some regional playoffs and finals and all that sort of stuff coming up. And as ever, you can go to WTRL.racing to get all of the details of that. But we are not back till September. So, Dave, we'll have to find another way to I was about to use a term language I probably shouldn't use, actually, to
You used your
waffle and
filter,
to
Kate.
gossip.
Good job.
Let's just use that. I did. I know.
Yeah.
It's only because it's still morning here in Brisbane, in Australia, and so if you got me at 7 o'clock at night, like I do with APAC, Anna doesn't necessarily get the same filter. So maybe you're lucky, maybe you're not. I don't know. Let's take a look at the results boards when Nathan has them ready, because it was quite a dominant performance both in the men and in the women. In the end, even though it did start out like perhaps it would have been a little bit tighter, I think that last sprint really sorted out a few of those teams.
Well, it is always nice, Kate, isn't it, when you see hard work pay off and good things happen for good people? That's something that I've come to appreciate even more in my old age. And I think that we're seeing that with
In
both of
your
these
old
groups.
age.
Laura Thompson for Kate delivers here. And look at Canada. Way to Canuck up. I heard you say the name Nats McLean. I thought, boy, does that sound like a bike racer's name? Well, Nats, you backed that up. Great job for ATP Racing Best Bid. She'll take. Doesn't it sound like a racer's name? It just does to me, anyway.
It
Second
does.
place,
It really
but
does.
but you're a boss, Nats. And then Tracy Moore, she stepped up too for Cadence there, and she'll take third in the bronze medal. This is your results in the race proper. But the points that the riders gained, they'll be added to their teammates, and that'll sort out what our top team was. So again, as Kate said, WTRL.racing is a great place to get that info. I've always been a big fan and remain impressed by Hannah Stallkamp, ATP Racing Best Bid rider in fourth. Sierra Ryland. Is that Sierra Sparkle? Is that her? I believe
It might
so.
be, yeah.
It might
Yeah.
be. So nice Sierra racing out of New Zealand for NZ Bro, Wahine Toa, the Warrior ladies. Camilla Rutford is the American, Team F3, FBW. Good job all season long, Camilla, in sixth. Stephanie Osenbrink in seventh for Cadence there. Those points are important. Lisa Hines for ATP Racing Vespid in eighth. Leanne LeBlanc for West Coast Coalition B. She's our ninth place finisher today. And then Maddie Marino for Team F3 FBW. That's your top 10 for our B women in America's West. And the C's might still be racing, actually. Or no. They're done.
Yes, well, we've got a few of them here. Let's go through this. We've got Christine Barr from the herd of misfit meerkats. She won 10 seconds ahead of her teammate Anne Bock. So it looks like they've had a pretty solid race out there, actually, 47 minutes. Well done. Rebecca Cohen, Goa Kong, Melissa Rumbles, and Justina Tam from West Coast Coalition, C1, C2, C1, C2, a little bit back and forth, and all of those. Rebecca Cohen had a bit of a sprint there with Anne Bock, but Kong, Rumbles, and Tam all coming in solo. So that is a very solid effort on this course. It is not an easy course by any stretch of the imagination. And
Holy
a whole
cow, a
lot of
lot of
Canadians.
Canadians.
Turns out America
Yeah,
West is really just Canadian time.
it's just Canada. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Canada. Oh, Canada.
So Zwift crushing daddies coming in here. Wanted to give them a shout out. Another one of our teams that shows a lot of spirit out there, Kate. Cool name, Youngblood.
Well, this is
I wish.
it is, and we didn't do our 5K hero. We got so excited
Well, then
by
let's
everything
go with
going
what
on.
you
So
said. Let's give it to Peter Mogg on the men's side. And
yeah,
then
I think
how
that's a
could you not?
fair one.
Yeah, and then Laura Thompson, she did everything. So I feel like sometimes I've been at races where I'll be honest, the committee that's deciding the most courageous, they'll throw riders out based on, well, he's already king of the mountain or she already won the sprint jersey, you know. So I'm saying let's just give it to Laura Thompson. She dominated from start to finish, from tape to tape
Yeah,
out
she
there.
earned it.
So
She gets
she
it.
earned
I
it.
mean,
But
again, I'm like, don't be checking your post box every day, guys. I don't know that there's anything
a
coming for the
massive
5K
check.
hero.
Yeah, that goes along with that,
I
right?
am
Yeah.
trying to convince Anna to get some pineapple lumps in the post from New Zealand. But that's to you guys too, because once you taste pineapple lumps, it's all over. You'll never like another, what do you call it, candy again. We call them lollies, but you'll in your vernacular, candy. So we'll
Isn't it
see if we can get
sad?
her to do that.
It sounds like a real unfair situation because Nathan and I agreed that we were going to send you and Anna a couple vats of pickle juice, which doesn't
Oh,
seem like
that
it's going to be
seems
as
a
much
bit
fun.
no.
It
That
off, doesn't
seems
it?
a
So
bit
I wonder,
lopsided. I'm not
Nathan
sure
comes from
about that.
Wisconsin where cheese curds and dairy products are really big. And yeah, I'm not sure what we should send you
I'm not
guys.
sure I would put any cheese curd
Yeah,
in the mail,
no,
to be
cheese
honest.
won't
I
travel well.
actually think
No.
no. We've got there's a wonderful show here in Australia, just to go slightly off point. It's the end of the season. Why not? Is we have this wonderful show. It's kind of a propaganda show called Border Control. And it
Oh,
like
I've seen
films
it.
people coming in through the airport
I
because we've
love
got
that
really
show.
strict
Yep.
customs protocols when you land in Australia. And inevitably, they have a lot of people opening their suitcases and all these foods and products being kind of brought out after they've said, they haven't declared it. They've said, no, I'm not bringing anything in. I'm now imagining that you and Nathan are going to troop on down to Australia with this giant suitcase full of cheese and associated dairy products. And you will be
They
the
asked
highlight
Nathan,
of Border Control
yeah, we'll
episode.
make the border
Dave
control
Towle and Nathan
show.
Guerra. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any cheese? And Nathan's like, nope, no cheese. And then they find it, and then all hell
No.
breaks loose. Right. Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Kate,
in
the show is on here
delicious.
in America. I've watched. It's always they lie about they bringing salami or something back from Hungary, and they think they
Yes.
won't get caught, but they do get caught. So in Australia is like Canada. To give our Canadian friends some credit, that border is airtight. They are not letting anything slip through. So Dan Pedroza, you have had quite a season, my friend. It's funny, Kate, because I think back to March when I was down in Austin and had dinner with Dan and how excited he was to relay some information to you, and a friendship really started. And boy, has he been fantastic as a racer and a person. So nice job, Dan. You really earned that one. Proving, Kate, that
Agreed.
nice guys can finish first, right?
I
Um,
know.
it-
I
it-
love that.
it's
Good on
nice.
him.
Good on him. On the Rivet Hayes did a wonderful job this year. Brian Bishop was a big part of that. So BB, good job, my man. Another BB, Brett Boniface, as we've known it lovingly called Brett. And Brett's got an awesome sense of humor. And the Canadian on Oh My God, They Killed Kenny was the reinforcements and was part of what tipped them over the scale from being good to being great. On the Rivet Hayes in fourth here with a flag that I don't recognize. I've had a terrible day with flags, Kate. Let me tell you, embarrassing moments, right, left, right, and center.
Well, you can never.
Yeah.
You're always better than Anna. She's had a real. She does not do well
she
on the
struggles
flag
to,
front.
yeah. So Eric Tudor, I do know this flag. America has got the next 4 spots for the United States here with Dirty Rascals Riot for Eric Tudor. Brian Diddy, good job this season. Another fun rider in our community, TFC Scorpions in 6th. Tony Pletcher on the Rivet Hayes. Great job, Tony. Eric Flanders, U2EF. Oh my God, they cook Kenny also has all-time good guy Peter Wog in 9th, and then confirming Nathan, our producer, was right. It is Patrick Schaefer. Patrick was in the mix all season long. Every one of those names, Kate, is recognizable, which tells me we had a fun journey through the regular season here with these guys and their teams and their friends. It's been an awesome
Absolutely,
season.
we did. And I think that Tanganan, I think that's a Filipino flag. So I'm going to throw that out there in the ether, and I am quite sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Let's take a look at the Bs. We have had a bit more focus on the As this season, but the Bs have been doing a tremendous job. So we've got Taylor Kernovich. He took the win for On the Rivet TWSS. He was 10 seconds. Now that's a pretty consistent across the different grades is a 10-second solo win. So good on him there. Eric Larson coming in for a hot sprint with David Gillum. Larson is from TFC Pickle Juice. He came second. David Gillum from GSZ Killer Bees. He came in third. Keith Norris, we've got in fourth from Dirty Rascals Grit. We love the Dirty Rascals team. I'm so glad that we have them representing across so many grades. Kyle Ashton coming in fifth for Red Peloton B. Daniel Meyer in sixth for Dirty Rascals Bing Bong. In seventh, we've got Dave Trill, KRT Big Timbers, Jeff Baumgardner and Jeremy Cottle in eighth and ninth for Red Peloton B. And we're rounding out that top 10, we've got Scott Pomeroy from TFC Pickle Juice. I very nearly called him Scott Pomegranate. Fantastic surname there. So that's the Bs.
Bing bong. All right. We should have a sound like that. We should record you and play that every time Nathan changes screens. We're coming back into image here as we have a chance. Hello, Kate.
Hello, Dave. I have written down some of the absolutely bing bong things you've said this season. I've got them in my little notebook here. So just look out for that to hit the publishing stands. Now, please head to WTRL.racing to see the results from across all of the season racing and all of the divisions in the Community League. As we mentioned earlier, we do have some regional playoffs going on next week. So check the calendar for all of that as well. Dave, what a pleasure it has been. This community is fantastic, but you are an absolute legend. And as I say goodbye to everybody for this season, I also say a very big thank you and goodbye to you and to Nathan and Martin in the background.
Well, I just want to say thank you, Kate. Again, not only are you a legend, but you're a consummate pro, and genuinely appreciate you. And of course, Nathan, thanks as always. We'll be back with a lot more racing, and tomorrow we've got the knockouts. It's a quick turnaround here, Kate. If your career had overlapped with esports racing, I think you would have been the knockout queen, to tell you the truth. But, it's a mutual
I would have
respect,
given it a go. Yes.
I know you would have, champ. Well, all right, Kate, take care of yourself, and everybody, thanks again for always joining us for an awesome evening here with
Thank
America's
you.
West.